A very good day to Dr. Sujit. This is Lydia.
Yes. My name is Professor Dr. Nadeshan Gopal.
My name is Collins.
My name is Nassim. I'm going to present.
We'll be doing the group presentation for Managerial Economics, and every group member has taken a particular area of the extract given to us, which is from the Congregational Research Service, 19 June 2020. It's a very interesting extract. The introduction, I have looked into transmission, where it can be seen that if countries were able to contain the virus spread vigorously, they would see that there was no severe economic impact on that particular country, which is the containment plan. This, in fact, would be shown by the economic indicators, whereby the gross profit product, as well as the export and import measures and private consumption expenditure, was seen very well. They did very well, especially you could see it with China. And in regards to the other area where we looked into was unemployment, and we narrowed down into Malaysia. And we realized that you have to look into the household income, which is the B40, M40, and the T20. And you're able to see that the marginalized B40 group, they were able to notice by statistics that 2.4 million jobs will be lost. And mainly 67% of it would be unskilled workers. And we have important notion to look into here actually in regards to economics. Then we looked into the global trade, which put people's safety first, protect business continuity, build and secure liquidity, and engage stakeholders. Moreover, we also looked into the government policy and financial institutes, and we continued with the economic growth and e-commerce. And we linked it very much to the mental health area, which is how is it that mental health will impact the economy. And it's a very pertinent link between the GDP and also the e-commerce emergence. How are people actually buying things, and how are people making valid decisions when it comes to their buying power? I would look into the implication of global economic growth, as well as in regards to the implication of pandemic towards Malaysian economic growth. Now, in regards to item A, loss of GDP value, we are able to see that there was a major global economic effect, which we are looking at 0.4%. And we may think it's small, however, it was 3.5 trillion USD lost. And this is quite a staggering amount comparatively to the previous years. Moreover, we are looking at the decline in demand, especially in certain industries. For instance, we have targeted tourism industry. And when it comes to any complementary and supplementary products, every industry also was affected. For instance, we are looking at the airlines, we are looking at hotels, we are looking at even the oil industry and transportation as well. So the global rise of other industries, yes, there was an increase in regards to the economy because of this, but not overall, which was pharmaceutical, which is Novavax and AstraZeneca, which is the vaccine production. Moreover, we saw the reduction of manufacturing productivity because of the closure of factories. Now, this is also could be because of the transmission and containment plan, as discussed. And we are also looking at the decline of financial markets. Well, we targeted mainly on leading markets, which is the European and the US market, which shown a staggering decline of 65%, which is a lot comparatively to the previous years. We also looked at the unemployment rate. The rate of unemployment increased to 4.2% in the year of 2020, which is a lot comparatively to the previous years.
Today I am going to discuss about the implication of the pandemic towards the Malaysian economic growth. Economy of the country is measured based on the economic growth of the country in a particular period, which reflects that whether it is increase or decrease in the goods and service produced. The growth of a country is demonstrated as a function of capital like physical, human, labor force and technology, which all accounts for the country's economic output also. During this COVID-19, starting from December 2019, World Bank has been recorded that there was a 5.2% of decrease in the GDP in the worldwide. It has reported that GDP growth rate of Malaysia is about around 4% in 2019, and it has been drastically changed and it is decreased during this pandemic situation. In an analysis, if we see, there was a drastic reduce from 3.6% to 0.7% in the quarter 1 of the economic growth of Malaysia. and it in second quarter, that is in second quarter, it was drastically, significantly, it is reduced to minus 17.1%. At the same time, there is not much changes has been noticed in the unemployment rate in the quarter 1. But if you see in the quarter 2, again, it has been increased to 5.1% in 2020. In the other hand, the same way, the export and import value also has been decreased when compared to 2019 and 2020, and especially in the quarter 1 and quarter 2, it's a drastic decrease has been noticed. In a press release of June 2020 by Joshua Fong and External Affairs also stated that there is a decrease in the investment around 4.6% in quarter 1 of 2020 in both and private public sectors, whereas there was a contraction of 0.7% in quarter 4 in 2020. At the same way, the export of goods and service also deteriorated to 7.1% in quarter 1 in 2020, and also the private consumption is also decreased. To overcome the economic issues during the COVID-19 pandemic situation, Malaysian government has announced the incentive packages and short-term recovery plan for economic growth increase. So there are something like Penjana short-term economic policies, higher public spending couples with the declines in the facial revenues, and also the tax revenues and tax exemptions has been given. And some more lower economic group peoples like subsidies has been given in electricity consumption and reliefs in tax. Then education sectors also given one-off payment to the students. So the goal is to align the country's prosperity and equality outcome to become high income and developed nations after this pandemic situation.
And I'll be discussing on the emergence of e-commerce in Malaysia due to the situation of COVID-19. COVID-19 in Malaysia actually started on January 2020. That was the first time we received the first case in Malaysia. The Malaysian government proceeded with some precautionary steps in order to curtail this situation from spreading wide. There are also a few negative effects of the MCO that was declared by the Malaysian government. A lot of employees lost their employment because the company can no longer sustain their employment. So, and this is when the e-commerce started becoming much more valuable in Malaysia. It's for the fact that a lot of people are working from home. People started buying things online, which actually made e-commerce to jump up to over 24.7% growth in Malaysia as of 2020. So the Malaysian government actually went ahead to set up the SME government special grants, which they are granting some SME loans for SME businesses. Another thing is the Malaysian government went ahead to give out another incentive to individuals like the Bantuan Prihatin Rakyat, which is a BPR, a kind of incentive that government is giving to individuals who lost their jobs or who lost their only source of income because of the issue of the movement control order that was imposed by the Malaysian government, just to keep them afloat in this current situation until the situation gets better. The next one is ICNR, which is in partnership with KWSP. KWSP stands for Kumpulan Wang Simpanan Pekerja, which is Employee Provident Fund. People were able to withdraw up to the tune of 10,000 ringgit, about 10% of their total savings. And government also gave tax relief to people, to businesses.
Conclusion, key takeaway, both foreign global supply and demand shocks and internal forces would have catastrophic consequences on Malaysia's economy because of this pandemic. MCU a revised extended two-stage fiscal solution packages proposed in view of emerging threats. Liquidity assistance for persons and companies is used in the first stage of the program. Individuals may be covered by extending EIS unemployment insurance and increasing BSH benefits temporarily. Stage 2 assess effort to boost the market after the MCU is lifted, assisting individuals and companies in regaining their footing. When opposed to the previous two lethal pneumonia disease, SARS and MERS, a novel coronavirus known as SARS-CoV-2 has triggered massive outbreak of COVID-19 disease with serious global consequences. Source: COVID-2 contamination had been detected in over 1.5 million people around the world 4 months since, and was first found in China. However, all Malaysians expressed their unwavering support for MCU complying in order to relieve the pressure on frontline workers, especially medical staff who are dealing with a growing number of cases every day.